All right, Elspin Hoops Nation, my name is Reid Nelson. This is Izzy Alcafas. This is This Week in Rec Playing Games Edition. Tonight's games, as in Wednesday night's games, will be in Bloomington South. Bloomington South for Wednesday night's games. We're going to talk about tonight's games, the playing games, as well as all 8 of the Sweet 16 games. So we'll start with Bulls North. They defeat Miller Time in the game of the night. Miller Time had control of this game for the majority of it. Roderick Powell goes for 43 points on 70% shooting. Austin Brown had 26 points of his own. Miller Time was really close, but they just crumbled down the stretch. The Bulls put on the full court press, and things just it just fell apart. So you caught the end of this game. Talk about it a bit.
Well, I was doing stats. I could not stop watching the game. It was like a track meet. It was balls being thrown around. I mean, there must have been, when I was watching, like 15 combined turnovers in the last 10, 12 minutes of that game. It was really sloppy. I think what happened is Miller Time, it comes down to experience. The Bulls hit them with a full court press, and Miller Time just crumbled. I mean, they're up 6 points or 8 points, and they're taking threes with a minute left. It's like, just pull the ball back and let's get a good shot. And maybe not. It was like 2 minutes left. They're passing up layups, kicking it out for threes. I think it's an inexperienced thing. Sure, IQ plays part of it, but once you do it a few times, you start to really. I mean, you get used to the talent that's in the league. You get used to, how the games should be won. And Miller Time, if any experienced team hangs on in that situation.
Austin Brown with the dunk of the year. Randolph Bryant has some of the better hops in the league when he used to play, but nothing like what I saw from Austin Brown tonight. I've never seen anything like that. It was unbelievable. Just popped right up. I mean, head over the rim, the whole nine. And, I mean, he's not a 5'9", 5'10"?
No. He's 5'8" at best. He's lucky. No, that was sick.
Incredible.
I mean, I was doing stats, and Amy was next to me, and we both just lost. I mean, it was pretty sick.
Okay, they will play the Gorillas. Now, Bulls North will play the Gorillas tomorrow night. We don't have the times yet. Well, the times will be posted by the time this is posted. So, Bulls North, Gorillas, who wins and why?
I guess. I mean, Rod's a hell of a player. You got Whiskey.
Mike Wiskus is out for tomorrow night's game.
Why?
Knee, he confirmed. He told me himself. I could quote him. Mike Wiskus out for tomorrow night's game. And
that hurts him offensively, but it helps him defensively because Mike is just a sieve on defense, especially with the bum wheel. They'll need a total team effort. They can be. I mean, when you have Rod on your team and you have those role players, you have Steve's a great defender. J. Mike can play a really good point guard spot. You got kind of like the Matrix and Franklin. Tuan, did he play tonight?
No, he's not on Bulls North. So remember that was the whole refund situation. He got injured.
Gotcha. Okay.
So he's on. Yeah.
So Purnell, I mean, they have some really good. The team fits well together. The issue becomes do they implode or not? If they can keep it together for 44 minutes, they can absolutely beat the Gorillas. I'll pick the Gorillas. They're 8-0. I just think that they're just feeling it. And the Bulls North stole a game tonight. So they're playing with house money, so that'll help them with the pressure.
Okay, free ballers really took it to them. Something was wrong with Julius in the first half. He didn't really play at all, and there was a little bit of an incident. At halftime, the guys were kind of asking him what's up. Them just wasn't on their game. Anthony Parker, 34 points on 76% shooting. Stensrud only 13% from behind the arc. Tonight was a night of really good performances. We'll get to a few more. So free ballers, I did not think this would be as cakewalk as it was, but them just wasn't there tonight.
Anthony Parker is an absolute animal. I mean, there's maybe 2-3 players in this league that even have a chance of checking him for an entire game. When you have him and nobody can defend him, it's deflating. And them probably, my guess is, I wasn't watching the game, but my guess is the free ballers started to run away, and then them, in their typical self, started taking some really forced bad shots. Did you watch the game at all?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, it just wasn't clean at all. The zone wasn't working too well. Like I said, when Devin is shooting 13% from the three-point line, they weren't getting any good looks. Anthony Parker was hitting all layups. I mean, those aren't 19-foot jumpers for Anthony Parker. Those are layups.
Did you grab a lot of offensive rebounds, or did you not check?
I'm not sure about that.
It'd be interesting to look at the box scores. There's going to be some interesting box scores tonight, but that is a good team. Billy's sick. Stuve, Anthony Parker, Zip, and they have Jake. I mean, they have an awesome team, an awesome starting five, good guys off the bench. They can make a run. They're definitely viable.
So Anthony Parker tomorrow night will take on Jake Gave and the Shockers, two of the better players in Ultimate Hoops. Who wins this game and why?
The free ballers will win. Watching the Pigeons tonight, Ethan is a great player, but he does too much too often. He tries to do way too much, and if he just kind of sat back and picked his spots a little bit more, the Shockers would have a better chance. I just can't see him deferring enough to the other guys on the Shockers for them to pull off the win. I think the free ballers do a better job of getting everybody involved, and they have the key that, I mean, Jake might be able to, I don't know. I don't think Jake can actually stay with Parker for an entire 44 minutes.
I mean, in Ethan's defense, we ask him to do that for the Pigeons. He doesn't have to do that for the Shockers. But with the Pigeons, I mean, he went for 28 points tonight on 67% free throw shooting. He picked up his fourth foul with 18 minutes to go in the second half. We'll get to that in a second. So, I mean, I'm not going to make a prediction on the game, but I think that Ethan will defer slightly to Jake. So
yeah, and I don't get to watch enough Shockers to see how he plays with that team, but when I watch him with the Pigeons, it's just excessive. It's excessive force.
So you've got the 12-seeded free ballers upsetting the 5th-seeded Shockers. So let's talk a little bit about the Pigeons. Ethan Welter goes for 28 points on 67% shooting from the field. He had 4 fouls, like I said, right away in the second half, and he didn't come out the remainder of the game. The Pigeons shot a ton of free throws. They hit 68% of them. That's what kept that lead. The Pigeons look good. I get a great view of the Pigeons, okay? So they beat Malice last week by 19. They were the underdog tonight, let's be honest. Callahan beat them by 17 earlier in the season, but they really frustrated them. They played great defense. Our goal, everything with Callahan is through Josh Hoyle. So if you can prevent Josh Hoyle from getting the ball by any means necessary, and they've got to start the offense with Emmanuel or Tim or whoever, it's not going to end well for Callahan. But if you get it to Josh, then it's just they went on a sick run at the end where, I mean, Josh is an absolutely insane player. I don't think he gets nearly enough credit. So, Pigeons, Callahan, you had a good look at this game.
Yeah. Callahan was actually kept in the game. Josh was awful. I think he started the game 1 for 8 from deep. As a team, they were 3 for 22 to start the game, and they finished 7 for 30. So they really turned it on the last couple minutes. I believe they had 7 assists the entire game. Pigeons had 10. It was very, very one-on-one isolation basketball. Either team would have got smoked by a good team tonight had they played. I don't think either team really played all that well. Pigeons made some tough shots, and they grabbed some offensive rebounds that Callahan probably should have scooped up. Caleb Carson, what's his name? What's his last? Carson? Caleb
Blair? Short guy?
No, for Callahan.
The slasher.
I think it's Caleb. It's Caleb something. He kept Callahan in it. He was unbelievable tonight. He just didn't have enough support from the rest of the guys. He struggled from the field. Chase couldn't make his layups, and they just didn't get enough from the supporting cast there.
Pigeons also boxed out Kevin Chase, which is not something they did in the first game, and he just crushed them on the boards.
He definitely did not. I think he had 8 or 9 offensive rebounds tonight for Callahan.
Well, we might want to check on the statistician there because I don't recall 8 or 9 rebounds. I recall a handful in the first half, maybe 3 or 4, but I thought we did a pretty decent job in the second half.
You did not.
Ethan Welter story. So I can picture Ethan Welter in middle school, with his fadeaway, and all the coaches are like, Ethan, don't fade away, don't, because that's what they tell you in middle school. And then come to high school, he just makes them all. So they're like, all right, just do it, do it. Okay, so I guess we'll differ on how well we did on Kevin Chase. We'll ask Kevin Chase. Okay, Goodfellas, 15 seeded, defeat off constantly. Actually, We didn't even talk Pigeons Malice. I'm getting ahead of myself here.
Okay.
Pigeons v. Malice. Pigeons beat Malice 19 points last week. That was without Devin Stensrud. Does Devin Stensrud make up for that 19-point difference?
He does. And it's not, is Devin Stensrud worth 19 points? It's the momentum changing points. I mean, Pigeons ran away because they had momentum the entire game. If Devin's there, it changes the momentum of the game from the start to finish. So I think Malice has a better overall team. The Pigeons need to come out hot to start that game, because if they come out hot, Malice will start pressing on offense and they'll start imploding like they did last week. The Pigeons are on a roll. I'll give you that. It's just they rely too heavily on 3 players. So Blair Johnson,
Correct.
he's going to have a really nice game as that 4th guy for the Pigeons to have a chance. And Peterson has been off for the Pigeons from deep. He's going to need to be on for the Pigeons to win. So I think Malice has the edge. You know, Devin's going to be fresh. Q's going to be fresh. Juice is going to be fresh. The only guy I think that is going to be playing another game is Helmy. So I think Malice will play.
Briggs.
And Briggs. But Briggs doesn't necessarily play, so he's going to be playing. That's going to be his first game.
Okay, so you've got Malice then. So you've only got one upset so far. That's, again, the 12-seed Freeballers beat the Shockers. 15-seeded Goodfellas. They take down off constantly. Emmanuel Harrison, 24 points, 60% shooting from the field. Talk a little bit about this game, Goodfellas v. off constantly.
Well, should we talk about off constantly?
We'll skip it to the next one. I'm just kidding.
Well, off constantly really showed us why we should have been talking about them all season. Really good performance by off constantly. Didn't even make it to the Sweet 16. Complained all season about us not talking about them, and this is why. I mean, and they had Ryan Samuelson tonight. So, Goodfellas just played better basketball. Ryan Samuelson and Bryant carried the entire game. They probably had 50 points combined, and then they both went ice cold in the second half, just completely ice cold, and it allowed the Goodfellas to win. Greg had some big buckets, and he played a great game. He was aggressive. They couldn't stop him in the post. They threw Bryant at him. They threw Stallings at him. They threw Jansen. They threw everybody at him at least, once or twice, and he had a big game. Garland was on fire as well. So I think Garland and E, just the size that they had over off constantly, and it showed. Off constantly had nothing in the paint, and that's a qualm I've had with them for the last 2 seasons. They just don't have anybody to protect the rim.
Goodfellas will play the Blazers. Cross league matchup. Who do you have in this game and why?
It's going to be a great game. The Goodfellas, it all comes down to Emmanuel. Because we talk about this all the time. He's always moping. Even when he's up, he's moping. Greg, they were up 8. Greg was dribbling the ball. E was wide open. He was cherry picking. Could have had a layup. Greg didn't see him. Got fouled, and E threw a hissy fit.
It was at the end of the game.
Yeah, it's like it's so deflating. He's very, very deflating. He's his demeanor. It's cancerous. So if he stops doing that and he starts becoming positive, showing effort, stops moping, he'll change not only his game, but he'll change his team's game. So it all comes down to him tomorrow. If he shows up and he's ready to play and he's positive and he's going like he was for most of that game tonight, they'll win. And I'm not a fan of the Blazers. We played them with Fob. I thought it was a relatively easy game for us. I just don't think they have enough to make a run. Can they beat the Goodfellas? Yes, but I'm going to stick with the Goodfellas in this one.
That 15-2 matchup in Ultimate Hoops Rec history has been devastating for the 2 seeds. Yeah. There's a lot of 15 seeds who have won that game. So, 9th-seeded Bulls South defeated the Players Club. The Players Club played really well, I thought, for most of the game. Considering they should have been, 15, 17-point underdogs, which they ended up losing by at the end. But they held on. They were tied at points in the second half, were they not? Lynch goes for 25, by the way. Bulls out-rebounded them by 15.
Yeah. I mean, I think they had maybe 20 offensive rebounds, the Bulls did. They could not stop Lynch and Ken and D'Angelo on the glass. It was I didn't see a close game. I saw a lopsided game. I know Players Club, made a couple runs here and there. They were close a little bit, but I didn't feel that game was ever in doubt. There were some games tonight where I'm like, I can see this team coming back. The Players Club just don't have enough, and they just don't have enough size down low to really stop them. Omar had a great game. He carried them in the first half, kept them around, but just a lot of turnovers, not enough boxing out, some really bad turnovers. Typical Players Club.
Tony DeBoer missed a wide open layup that would have tied the game earlier in the second half.
The lefty.
Yeah, and that was a deflating one. Yep. That one hurt. So they Bulls South will play the Celtics. Who do you have in this game and why? 8-9 matchup.
It depends on what time the game is played. It depends on which Celtics can make it to that game. I think the Bulls. I think the Bulls South might have. The Celtics are on a 3-game losing streak. I don't know who's going to show up for them. They don't play much defense. And I just think the Bulls South, if Zhao shows up and he can get going, they just have a lot of guys that can turn a game on its head when a team plays bad defense. And I think the Celtics play a lot of bad defense. Abdi will kill you if you play bad defense. Zhao will kill you if you play bad defense. And Tuan will kill you if you don't box out. And Skaya does a really good job. He's actually been, despite them losing 3 games with him there, he does a really good job of being the only guy that really fights for rebounds. And Garland does as well, I guess. But Tuan is going to have a field day, I think, down low. Ken they'll be able to offset because Ken's defense is so atrocious at this point in his career that the Celtics will be able to take advantage. So if I'm the Bulls, if I'm Gino, I only play Ken if, Jay Moore's in the game or Sky is in the game, because then you don't have to worry about Sky shooting. But if those 2 guys are on the bench, Ken has to be on the bench as well, and just let Tuan dominate the glass like he should.
Okay, in what I believe was the only upset of the night, 19-seeded Big Smash takes down the 14-seeded Squires. Both teams shot the exact same percentage from both the field and the three-point line, 37% and 26% from the field and the three-point line. I thought that was interesting. You didn't get a chance to watch this game, I don't believe, and I didn't see much of it either because I was playing on the near court.
I got glimpses of it.
I was told it wasn't as close as the score indicated.
Every time I looked over there, Bulls had a nice 10, 15-point
Big
cushion.
Smash.
Or Big Smash, sorry. Had a 10, 15-point cushion. I saw a lot of long court heaves, sloppy play by the Squires. And I'm trying to do stats and kind of get distracted by the games. And they jumped on them early, so Smash jumped on them early, and Squires never really made a heroic comeback. I think at one point they had a few big possessions. I think Springer hit a big shot in N1 that kind of shifted the momentum, but then their defense failed them. And the Squires really didn't look good all season. I mean, does Hamill make that big of a difference? I don't know. They show up with the same. Here's the thing with the Squires: they show up with the same guys every season, pretty much, and they put together some really good games. And they look like they have the team that should be able to get it done, but something is always missing with them. They just never make it as far as we think they should or could. And it's been, maybe 8 to 10 straight seasons now with the same core, and they've been to the Final Four one time?
I believe so.
Just unacceptable.
The Squires have always given past Big Smash teams fits because they play good basketball, and Big Smash just kind of is like a beehive in a way, just kind of scrambling and all over the place. So the Squires have always given Big Smash trouble, but not tonight. So I'm interested for this game. Big Smash, which is they're really not a 19 seed. No. I mean, this is a tough draw for the Avengers, who are a 3 seed. In Bloomington, who do you have in this game and why?
This is a toss-up game. Big Smash, they had some attendance issues.
No.
To say the least. So in the playoffs, Glenn was here tonight.
Glenn and Greg. Yeah, the whole squad was here, I believe.
So if they show up with the whole squad like they should, Big Smash actually has the advantage because there is nobody coming close to stopping Glenn. Nobody. And the issue for the Avengers is when Noe's playing, does he guard Greg? And then Greg can kind of drive. Greg doesn't play as well as he should when Noe is guarding him because he's just so much bigger and stronger than him. He just kind of defers to pulling up and taking bad shots. But if Big Smash play the right way and they offset Glenn with Chris, I think the rest of the pieces can beat the Avengers. So Glenn needs to offset Chris's game, and if he does that, I think Big Smash win. Glenn always shows up in the playoffs. Always shows up in the playoffs. The other guys, it's a toss-up. I think they get it done. I actually think they upset them. I think there's going to be, I think the 2 seed and the 3 seed get knocked out tomorrow night.
So Rebels defeat Crusaders. Paul Ferrer picks up a technical foul very late. I couldn't believe it when I saw that. Paul, I love you, man, but I just don't get it. I don't get what that was. So I didn't watch the game because I was listening to guys talk to me about our referee situation. But what Rebels win comfortably. I hate to make the story about Paul, something that happened with a minute left, but Rebels win comfortably. Talk about the win.
The Crusaders never stood a chance. I mean, the Crusaders are just not. They don't have enough good pieces. They don't have enough good shooters. They play bad team basketball at times, one-on-one basketball, and they don't have one-on-one players. They play some atrocious defense. Like they lose guys in transition all the time. If they miss a shot, nobody gets back, and it's a layup line. Then they have guys that are trying to dribble on the perimeter, and against the Rebels, you know what happens. Jansen and Dustin probably picked up 7, 8, 9 steals tonight, like they typically would against a team that dribbles around the perimeter. That was, out of all the games, that was the game where the underdog stood no chance. There was no way they could have played that game 50 times and the Rebels were going to win all 50.
Fob 5 Rebels tomorrow night. Some classic moments, some classic Ultimate Hoops moments. I believe the Ryan Jansen broken hand game came from Rebels Fob 5. Just a lot of good stuff. So talk about this game. I know Junius was not happy with this draw, having to play the Rebels, because you're going to lose DuPont, which almost, it's tough.
I mean, out of all the games tomorrow, this is the one where the underdog is not going to win. I mean, Fob's going to be Iron 5. Cody's out, so he would have actually played with us, but he's gone. That would have given us a chance. Colby, Paul, Apple, we're going to be undersized 1 through 5. We're going to have 5 guys. They're going to have 9. There's just no way for 44 minutes we can compete. I can see Fob keeping it close for a half. Second half, I think the Rebels will cruise just like they did tonight. I mean, this for the Rebels, their seed set up perfectly. I mean, they got the Crusaders, nice cupcake, and then they play Fob, missing their two best players. It's the playoffs. Fob can't win Iron 5 with their 2 best players gone. So they could the Rebels could essentially rest some of their players and still advance.
Ultimate Hoops Nation, I got to hand it to you. We had no forfeits this year up until tonight. So Ridge Show forfeits against UANO. UANO advances. They will play the Muskies, a 22 seed UANO. This could be a good game. What's Trevor going to do?
Trevor should play with UANO because I think it's his original team, and I think they need him more. Whoever Trevor decides to play with, I think, has a slight advantage.
Really?
Because here's the thing. Storm is great. They only have one John Christensen. So who does he pick? And I'm guessing he picks Storm. And then Trevor can kind of pick and prod his way to a solid game. I like Sam. I like Marquardt. I think those guys. Sam is the key, because I don't think there's anybody that can stop Sam on the glass for the Muskies. So if Trevor decides to play with UANO, I think they have the advantage. I think they have 3 out of the 4 best players in the game. Now, I think the Muskies have better role players, top to bottom. But I think in the playoffs, when everybody kind of turns on their A game, I think the best players will rise to the top. And I think Trevor kind of switches the advantage, deciding which team he plays for. So I think he's going to play with UANO, and I give them the advantage, and that's another upset. I think there's going to be a lot of upsets tomorrow.
Okay, so quick little announcement. So the games are in Bloomington on Wednesday. They'll be back in Fridley on Thursday. We talked a little bit about adding instant replay. We're not going to do that this playoff season. That's something that we'll talk about in the moving forward, but we're just not ready for it yet. There's too many circumstances that we're not prepared for. So we're not going to put in a rule that we might use for the Final Four. We'll maybe test it out next season for a week, but we're not going to do it right now, and we'll talk about that later. So you have any thoughts on that? Because I don't know if you knew that.
I mean, I think at some point you need to pilot it for a playoff game. I mean, I don't know why we wouldn't do it, just kind of run through an Elite Eight game. I mean, this is the playoffs. The teams earn their way in. All the games are going to be – there's going to be people with video cameras. It makes –
For the last minute.
Yeah, for the last minute. It makes no sense why we don't try it tomorrow, because there will be a camera in the last minute for all the games. Okay,
but what is reviewable and what is not reviewable? Because the way I understand is the only thing that's reviewable is last-second shots, whether or not they made it off or did not make it off, right?
Here's the thing. We're not on national television, and we have commercials that are, paying our bottom line. We're not the NBA. We don't have time to review the last minute, last 2 minutes, throw the challenge flag, whatever you want to call it. It should just be last plays of the game. Review last plays of the game, buzzer beaters specifically, not who did it go off of, just purely
whether or not the shot made it off a player or not.
Yes, in time.
Okay, what if a guy gets blatantly hacked?
Nope.
Not reviewable.
Well, you can't review that in the NBA either.
What if a guy steps out of bounds with 0.2 seconds left, and then he gets it off with 0.1 second? Is that not reviewable
That's
as well?
Second shot. So if he was out of bounds before.
Okay, what if he steps out of bounds with 8 seconds left, but then he gets it in, and with a half second left, he sinks it?
I think that
not reviewable.
I mean, that's something that.
Do you see where we're going with this?
Yeah, yes, but that's something that's why there's a committee, and that's why there's you, where you decide. Okay, if a guy's stepping out of bounds as he's taking a shot, it's no good. If the refs miss a call with 8 seconds left when he stepped out of bounds, but then the game it was a play on. It wasn't a last second. I think anything with the last 2 seconds, anything that happens in the last 2 seconds with the player shooting the ball.
This is my thought. Your play against the Muskies would have been reviewable. Ryan Samuelson's play last year in the Gold Cup final would have been reviewable. The only thing that's reviewable is if a shot got off in the last second or did not get off in the last second. That's it. So whether or not it left the guy's finger with 0.1 or with 0, that would be, to me, that would be the only situation that would be reviewable. Nothing else under no circumstances. But I just don't think we're ready yet. That's all. Because there's just things we haven't thought of.
You just went through the rule. So what do you mean things? You just went through it. You just named off the rule. So why can't we implement it tomorrow and see how it goes? At least we're going to get it somewhat close as opposed to just not figuring it out whatsoever. If you guys want to do last second, did he get it off in time or not? Let it happen. It's probably nothing's going to happen tomorrow. Likely nothing's going to happen, but you never know.
Well, let's say this. Tomorrow night, we're not going to have instant replay, but maybe Thursday. But not tomorrow. We're not ready. I don't trust the fact that we're going to have. I mean, what if it's a Shockers game or a Pigeons game? Do you want me to while I'm playing? You want me to grab the?
So you're the national coordinator, right? I think we hired.
Yes.
I think we hired a regional coordinator. What's his name? What's the regional coordinator's name here?
His name's Aaron.
Aaron Wimsett. So I think he's around, right? He's from Minnesota. They have this Chris Dirks.
He's the Fridley coordinator.
He should be.
Who's the Bloomington coordinator?
Chad Wessels. I mean, Artistry Award, Chad Wessels. I mean, if there's a guy that's been sucking the teat of Ultimate Hoops and getting a free ride for the last 3 years, it is Chad Wessels. At some point in time, you assume that somebody that doesn't show up for their shifts 90% of the time would eventually get fired.
We're done.
So let's get a Bloomington coordinator so we have all eyes on deck.
Okay, so we're not going to do it tomorrow night, but we'll talk about it for the future. We're just not ready, Izzy. That's all. Okay, well, that's it. We're done. We'll see you tonight.